everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and we are once again visiting the Age of Darkness. Yes, the Horus Heresy. We have returned with the Legion Fellblade. This thing is enormous. It's enormous. Trust me, I mean, it's gigantic. It's a little bit longer than a Bane blade. And, well, massive thank you goes out to Games Workshop for sending me this one early to build up and paint with all of you. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be painting this as an Imperial Fist's Fellblade. But, as you can see, it's currently been primed in Chaos Black. And there's a lot of blue tack all over the model. I thought I'd show you this because, well, we've primed it in black. And the first step is to prime it again. We're going to be using some Wraithbone to reprime the areas that you can currently see. So what I've done is I've used this blue tack here to create a kind of rough masking over the top of this back part of the turret. So that's going to be stay black, and then the heavy bolter sponsons, they're staying black the way they are. They don't need to be reprimed or anything like that. And then over here, what we're going to be doing is we've done some very rough masking with the blue tack around here and around here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to prime this front section and this section in Wraithbone. Is what we're going to do. And that's what we've done. So, like I said, we've just gone for a really rough priming because this is going to be quite a sort of dark and dirty version of the Fellblade. We want it to feel lived in. We want to feel it a little bit kind of like a, well, like an ancient battle tank, which is kind of what it is. But we're going for a sort of slightly more kind of grungier look here today, which is why we haven't gone for like a really clean masking off of this kind of thing. So I'm going to go and prime this section and this section in Wraithbone, and we'll be back in just a moment. So with that Wraithbone primer now applied to these two pieces, I'm now going to peel off our masking to reveal, hopefully, a reasonably well primed tank. So as you can see, we've now got some clearly defined black armor paneling, and we've got our Wraithbone paneling as well. However, some of those transitions are a little bit straight, so we want them to be, well, just a little bit more scuffed, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to, last part of the prep work, I swear, is we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to use a homemade stippling brush. And this is, in this case, this is a medium layer brush. It's quite a small one. You could do this with a medium shade brush. We've snipped off all of the bristles, and what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion, and then in some tissue paper, we're just going to stipple like this until it's around about that consistency where we want it to be. And where we've got those transition lines is we're going to stipple this Black Legion. Just like this sort of thing. And the reason we're doing this is to just create some kind of false dirt before we start the tutorial proper. So with that all done, you should now have some fuzzy edges, which is exactly what we're wanting. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Imperial Fist, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of these areas where the Wraithbone is shining through on the armor. So we're just going to start back here. Just like that sort of thing. And then we're going to work our way around the rest of the model. Just taking it a section at a time. So with all of that Imperial Fist applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion. And we're going to apply this over the top of all the areas that we want to be black and all these kind of affected areas that we've got some of that primer on. So we're just going to start back here and get this all over. Now, one thing I will recommend here is doing the entire panel if you do have a little bit of a mistake. And that's because Black Legion is not the same color as Chaos Black. But if you just want to go in and correct mistakes like that sort of thing, you absolutely can do so. And also remember that when this is on, it covers up all of this. So it's really everywhere outside this sort of circle pattern. It needs to be fixed up. Continuing with the Black Legion, we're also going to apply this over top of the tracks. So with that Black Legion applied across all of the details that are going to be black, we have actually done the bolt guns in here. We've done the casing of the demolisher cannon. We've done inside here. We've done inside there, and we've done this kind of grating here and this part here. What we are actually going to do now is we're going to add some shades. And well, the first of these is going to be some Nuln Oil. And what we're going to do is we're going to thin it down just a little bit. So we're going to take 4 parts Nuln Oil to 1 part Lahmian Medium. And we're going to apply this over top of, well, all of the black armor details. But we're not going to be applying this over the top of the tracks. Don't worry about doing any of that. But for example, just in here, we are going to be applying this Nuln Oil and Lahmian Medium mix. Just like this. And the reason being is that we just kind of want to lock in the flavour. Just a little bit. But because the tracks are not going to be black, they are in fact going to be dry brushed silver. Spoiler alert. We don't actually need to shade them with the Nuln Oil, because well, that just kind of defeats the object. So with all that Nuln Oil applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to shade all of the yellow. And to do that, we're going to take a roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Iyanden Yellow mix. We're going to apply this over top of all of the yellow. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to do something that's going to be a little bit tedious, but it's going to really help make all of that yellow really sing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Gore-Grunta Fur to the tune of 2 parts Gore-Grunta Fur to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix. I'm going to use this inside all the recesses. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to dry brush the tracks. I'm going to dry brush them with some Iron Warriors. There's going to be a pretty heavy dry brush here. Just like that sort of thing. So with all that Iron Warriors dry brushing done, we're then going to dry brush all of the black using some Dawnstone. With that Dawnstone dry brush all applied, we're then going to dry brush the sharpest parts using some Administratum Grey. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to dry brush all of the yellow using some Flash Gitz Yellow. But what we can also do here is if you want to kind of tidy up some of the kind of patchy bits that we've built into the scheme, for example around here, is we can use this to do some very, very gentle stippling over these areas. Just like that sort of thing. So with all that Flash Gitz Yellow applied, we're then going to take some Dorn Yellow. I'm going to use this to dry brush the sharpest parts of the yellow. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're basically going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over top of almost all of our remaining details. The only thing we're not going to be really doing this over top of is the smokestacks on the engine block at the back, but also on top of the large drums on either side. We're going to do those in a different colour. So just take your time here. Make your way around the model, picking out all the bits that we want to be just sort of neat silver, really. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Castellax Bronze, and we're going to apply this over top of the engine block and the drums. So with that all done, we're now going to shade those metallics, and well, the first one that we're going to do is the silver, and the colour we're going to be using for that is a roughly 6 parts Nuln Oil to 3 parts Lahmian Medium. That's right, it is a 2-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium. No, 2-to-1 mix of Nuln Oil and Lahmian Medium. However, I've mixed it up in 63. So we've got just enough to get us through more of the model. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to apply this over top of our Castellax Bronze. So with that all done, our Legion Fellblade is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. It's a little bit beyond that with all the dry brushing and stuff that we've done, but it's already looking pretty cool, even if I do say so myself. I'm quite pleased with this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to mess it up. And you don't have to, of course, you could just leave it like this, but what we want to do is we want to add some of that weathering that we talked about before, and luckily we've already got a guide track for this, because we've got the kind of build up of the black in the kind of recesses where we've sort of had that sort of slightly grubbier priming job. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown and some stippling, well, our DIY stippling brush and some tissue paper, and we're just going to dab this into our tissue paper like this until we get it to the consistency that we want, which is around about that sort of thing. And then over the top of these areas where we've got that kind of slightly rough finish, we're gonna start stippling this on. But of course you don't have to just stick to these areas, you can go wherever you damn well please. Such as areas along the tracks. Just like this sort of thing. So with that Cygor Brown done to all of the yellow, what we're now going to do to the black is we're going to do a similar thing, but with some Administratum Grey. So we're going to be just a little bit more targeted here. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Typhus Corrosion, and we're going to add some sort of muddy grossness to the tracks. Like that. But what we can also do with the Typhus Corrosion, should you wish, you can also add some little patches of it on the black and the yellow if you wanted to, but so with all that Typhus Corrosion applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Skrag Brown. I'm going to use this to add some little portions of rust and dirt over the top by just dry brushing in this kind of circular motion, like this sort of thing, over the top of the Typhus Corrosion. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to add just some little silver scratches here and there, kind of like the silver still shining through in our tracks as an example, like this. But we're also going to use this to dry brush all of our actual silver details as well. And so with that all done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Leadbelcher, and we're going to use this to add some chipping in much the same way that we did our stippling earlier. I'm going to do this inside where we've done damage and dirt, like this. So with that all done, we're now going to add just a little bit of battle damage here and there. So what we're going to do is going to take some Black Legion, and we're just going to pick some little areas to add some little bullet holes, little scuffs and things. And so with that all done, we are then going to once again go back to some thinned down Leadbelcher, and inside those Black Legion parts that we just did, we're going to add some silver. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Dorn Yellow. I'm going to use this to highlight those little bits of damage. And so with that all done, we're now just going to finish off the tank by taking some Blood Angels Red. We're going to apply this over top of any lenses. And there we have it, our Legion Fellblade Super-Heavy Tank is now finished. And well, I actually had a ton of fun doing this. It's really fun just to mess up all that hard work. Just doing all of the battle damage and the weathering and all of that kind of grossness. It's just fun. It's just having fun with the paint and making something really look lived in and come to life. It's brilliant. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/Warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.